The Flower Garland Sutra says, quote, "Those who do not understand their obligations will in many cases meet with an untimely death." End quote. Wonder if I can find a piano, grand piano, echoey sound of da-dum. And the Meditation on the Buddha's Ocean-like Characteristic Sutra says, quote, "This failure to repay a debt of gratitude is the cause that leads to rebirth in the Avicii hell." End quote. So, on their own, reading those quotes makes Buddhism sound pretty fire and brimstone, doesn't it? But everything in context. You remember that in Buddhism, a life well lived is the goal of manifesting all our potential in this brief lifetime, this span of time that we have with a sentient mind, to witness it, to observe it. Nothing else in the universe can observe the process of life, the engine of life. Everything else is just doing what it does. It's just, right? Sand washing out into the ocean isn't conscious, doesn't know, doesn't witness itself moving around, rubbing with other grains of sand to polish itself, movement, time, none of that. Only our sentient minds are capable of that. We forget this all the time. We take it for granted. Well, yeah, I'm a human being. We have a very, very rare and precious opportunity to appreciate. And I don't mean, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. No, I mean, inculcate, feel on a cellular level how amazing life is. And when I say life, I don't just mean in my neighborhood, my friendships. I don't just mean my town, my country, or the earth, or the solar system. Because all of it is just as intimate as what color underwear you're wearing today. The universe is happening within you right now. I mean, can you wrap your mind around the largesse of what it is that makes your moment to next moment, this next moment, so spectacularly amazing? We take it for granted. I'm hungry. I need a sandwich. We just roll along. So these statements in Buddhism about filial obligation, it's not just you got to thank your mom and your dad. No, it may come out that way in the writings, but it's a much more extended, much more vast appreciation for the conditions of our life that support this sentient mind. Wow. This is so amazing. Even things that we would normally go, I don't want to experience that. How amazing is it that you don't want to experience that? That these mechanisms are at work, that are constantly influencing our moment-to-moment state of being. In an instant, we can go from wandering about to intense joy to, oh my gosh, are you okay? I, I mean, in an instant, fast. How long is an instant? We've been talking about this. How long is a moment? 3,000 realms in a single thought moment. That's what this is about. Not only recognizing that our shifting environment of influences and our ability, more to the point, to recognize that shifting, constantly moving condition, life experience. It's so volatile. But what this is about here in this section is being cognizant of it. How much of our lives, how much of our days, how much of the last 10 minutes have you just sort of hummed along? You don't think about it. You just take for granted your next cup of coffee. You don't think about what went into making that coffee. Why should you? I do this every morning. It's old. Keeping an appreciative mind to how wonderful everything is as a process, as a manifestation of potential. It doesn't make you subservient. Don't think of it as like, oh, yeah, I have to thank my coffee for being coffee. No. Again, Buddhism is about attitude and intent. If you adopt a sentient mind of appreciation, just stop there. Your life becomes full of opportunity to witness what there is to appreciate. If you don't set your mind on how amazing this life is in every single breath, then much of life will simply pass you by. And you will learn over time to accrue regret. Man, if only I would have. I had so many opportunities. How could I have been so stupid? Right? We don't want to feel those things. We don't want to miss a moment. But we do all the time. Because our attitude and our intent isn't hooked into this engine of life. It's just sort of surfing on it, waiting for things to happen. So we're going to, got to get busy dealing with this now. Instead of, wow, something got my attention. Hello. Wow. Yes, I got to stay engaged. I got to stay here in this moment, this moment, this moment. So that's what this means. That's your obligation, is to be intensely aware of this momentous, moment-to-moment engine of life occurring. Your mind can witness it and be thankful for it. I don't mean thankful as you owe it something. It comes across that way because the language says debt of gratitude. But what we're talking about is a respect for, an appreciation for being in it. Not just enjoying it, but understanding how amazing it is to enjoy it. That's a self-referential appreciation. That's a, wow, I'm in it appreciation. There's a subtlety there, yeah? And if you're not capable of doing that, or you're not, we're all capable of it, but if you're not remaining aware, right? Awakening, aware, mindful, all these words we have for it. If we're not consistently in our sentient mind, being aware with that ichinen, that will, that mind of conscious appreciation for moment to moment living, instantiating from potential, then our life is just, was the importance of climbing the mountain in the footsteps? Or was it in the sensations of climbing, making those footsteps one after another to reach higher and higher realizations and being moments in climbing the mountain? Then when you look back on your footprints, you can assign a value to them, but without having climbed the mountain or achieving whatever, the footsteps aren't the climbing. They're just past mementos of something that happened. They don't have value. The value is in the achievement. Life is like this. If you're I'm thinking in French, if you're not breathing in each moment of your instantiating life as such, then life is something you're dragging along. There's our thing with time again. So when he says, he quotes the flower garland, says, when they don't understand their obligation, understand, not, see, that's the mind, not what they've done, but we don't have the attitude of recognizing this amazing process, this engine of life, moment to moment. Then, what does he say? Meet an untimely death. Birth, death, moment. Your awareness, your beauty, your Buddha-ness, your awareness, you're just casting it off. You're throwing it away. Hello, pay attention. Look how many moments of enlightenment you've lost. That's what that's talking about. You see? The failure to repay a debt of gratitude is the cause that leads to rebirth in the avicii hell, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. If you're not recalling how amazing this process of life is and you're instantiating with that attitude this amazing life, every potential you can, then what is your next moment from this birth-death moment to this birth-death moment? What's it going to? It's going to be in suffering, because you're going to be dragging a dead past along with you. Isn't this constantly what Buddhism identifies? But now you've already manifested a sincere concern for your parents, and the heavenly deities are certain to heed your meditations. The energy of the universe is always there. And you've already demonstrated a compassion for your ancestors, for your path to being. Again, your reverence for this life that is occurring to you now, and the mechanisms which manifested this life for you. Mother, father, grandfather, grandparents, ancestry, all the energies, Ichinen and Sanzen, 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, all of that energy manifesting brings about you, you-ness, the suchness of you, not you, a static quantity, you, an engine, a freight train of karma moving through time-space. This happening of you. How can the environment energy that ultimately is the foundation of you-ness not recognize, not resonate with your being. It's all through your mind. In your letter, he continues, speaking to Shijo Kingo, you also mention certain things that, on thoroughly considering the heart of the matter, I have confidence you ought not to do. I, Nichiren, am hated by the people in Japan. It's a general statement, but yeah, he's threatening. He's challenging all the authority and the elitism in Japan at the time, and they're not happy about it. Right? This is entirely due to the fact that the Lord of Sagami regards me with animosity. I grant that the government has acted quite without reason, but even before I encountered my difficulties, I foresaw that the troubles of this kind would occur, and I resolved that whatever might happen to me in the future, I must not bear any hatred toward others. This determination has perhaps acted as a mediation, for I have been able to come safely through any number of trials, and now I am faced with no such difficulties. This is an important lesson. He's transmitted this several times, as we've heard before in Goshos, to Shijo Kingo, a samurai. And the samurai is trained, an agent of power and authority, to have kind of a short level of tolerance, yeah? So if the samurai is put upon, he quickly reverses the roles, right? Violence. You will not challenge me. Off with your head, right? So Shijo Kingo has demonstrated he can be kind of short-tempered. And Nichiren constantly is advising him, you might want to rein that back a little bit. Don't worry, it's not a diminishment of your stature. It just would be wiser. You may extend your life, which, by the way, is quite important. Counter to the Bushido code that says every morning you should wake up prepared to die today. Oof, what a setup. Why would you hesitate to be violent if you knew you were going to die today anyway, right? Nichiren constantly fighting that with, your life is precious. But as a samurai, you kind of fight that, right? Don't tell me my life is precious. I won't be effective in battle. I'll stand there and weep and accept somebody else's sword to cut my head off. I have to be determined that this is my last moment. Therefore, I must fight with that kind of urgency. So Buddhism kind of I almost said it. That's good. I'm going to say it. A double-edged sword. Sorry. But to a samurai, this is a difficult thing, because the samurai also has a tremendous amount of honor, right? And Nichiren's the guy pointing out, the emperor's naked. What are you honoring if you're willing to throw it away so easily? Yikes. Nobody's supposed to ask. So Nichiren's always reminding Shijo Kingo how important his life is, how precious his life is. When you think about it this way, it's not a big surprise that most of Nichiren's converts in his day were the samurai. It's kind of mind-bending in a way when you consider what it means. Whose aid was it that allowed me to escape death from hunger when I was exiled to the province of Sado? Or that makes it possible for me to recite the Lotus Sutra, the Myoho Rengekyo, here in the mountains as I have up until now? It is your aid alone, Chijo Kingo. See, you're not just a death machine. And it's not just about me. It's about my mission. Look at the depth of the causes you're making. You're not just helping Nichiren, some monk, stay alive. You're helping me, Nichiren, a monk that is a votary of the Lotus Sutra, of the correct transmission of Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings. That's what you're keeping alive. That Gohonzon goal. That's what you're helping to subsist, to protect. Attitude and intent. And if we inquire as to who made it possible for you to offer this aid, we would have to say that it is your Lord, Emma, right? The lay monk, Emma. Even though it took him a long time to convert. He was Nembutsu, and he mechanized and he thrashed many times, took away possession of Shijo Kingo to try to get him to stop following Nichiren. And yet, Shijo Kingo owes him a great debt, because without Lord Emma, Shijo Kingo would not be able not only to subsist, but here's the appreciation thing, but to use his life effectively to protect Gohonzon, to protect the votary of the Myoho Rengekyo. See, our lives, we tend to think of them as very small and personal, but we're always engaged with the entirety of life. Are we using that engagement? Are we experiencing that engagement? Though he himself is not aware of this fact, has undoubtedly acted as a meditation on my behalf, or mediation on my behalf. And if that is so, then your Lord's meditation has also become a meditation on your behalf as well. Because you're gaining from these causes you're making, cause, effect, immediate, time, space, same thing. All of it within the context of the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment. All of these concepts are resolving around this idea that you're not a single being, that your single vantage point, sentient mind being, is never outside of or disconnected from or individuated of the entirety of the engine of life. This is the interconnectedness, the equanimity of Buddhism. We often miss that, yeah? As good a moment as any for me to remind you of how much I appreciate your practice, your liking and subscribing of these videos, your growing of this Sangha, right? Your support through, maybe it's just liking and subscribing, which is support for Buddhism, not me, but the spreading, the propagation of Namo Myoho Rengekyo. Maybe you purchase an ebook on the ebook page of threefoldlotus.com. More support. Or maybe you buy a print book from the lulu.com bookstore, the Threefold Lotus Kun bookstore. Or a mandala. Yes, get yourself a proper mandala. Download the mandala, the digital version. Any way that we, vis-a-vis I, can provide support for practice of Nichiren's doctrine of Shakyamuni's Lotus Sutra Buddhism. Anything you can provide to keep that going, Namo Myoho Rengekyo, you're doing this work, just like Nichiren is talking to Shijo Kingo. So profound thanks, appreciation. Nichiren continues, moreover, it is thanks to your Lord that you have been able to fulfill your obligation to your parents. The influences are just every which way here because you're engaged in your engine of life, the engine of life. You're not just riding along or waiting for it to hit you because life is happening to you. No. That is the primary illusion. Life isn't happening to you. You're in it. You're causing it. You're making it. Life is you. We're not taught to think that way. It gives us too much power. Those that would control us, own us, use us, they don't want to ever hear that we're life itself. Oh, no. You owe. So don't hear this rhetoric in here as owing your life itself. Rather, recognize. That's a different, the words, they get in the way. That kind of appreciation is a moment-to-moment realization of engagement, not like something was done for you and therefore you need to repay it. What you're repaying in these words here isn't to something else. It's to your own energy, your own life, your momentum. Oh, I'm sorry, me. I wasn't paying attention to how important I am to me. See? It's in the mind. Buddhism is about the mind. Regardless of what might happen, it would not be right to leave the service of someone to whom you are so indebted. If he repeatedly rejects you, then there is no help for it. But you yourself must not abandon him, no matter how your life may be endangered. So that's a lesson in tolerance, right? If somebody has provided for you the opportunity for your self-realization, and then for whatever reason they turn against you, they castigate you, they do non-productive, non-nice things, maybe they fire you, whatever. You cannot allow yourself to begrudge them. You must always remember that you are who you are, where you are, how you are, in some measure through their life, their influence, maybe they want to withdraw that influence now, but you can't begrudge them for doing that. That's their life. They're dealing with their stuff. You must, with appreciation and respect, all right, I need to move on. It's not generally how we're taught, right? Revenge is the order of the day. And certainly you would think for a samurai, yeah? And Nichiren is saying, don't let your mind go there. That's not productive for you. The passage from the sutra that I quoted above says that those who do not understand their obligations may meet with an untimely death. Conversely, those who discharge their filial duties will not meet with such a death. Leave with your dignity. Always lead your life through dignity. Not some fake dignity like badges and medals and arrogance. Dignity for the life itself. That is never diminished. Only a polluted sentient mind can diminish that. And that's on you. The bird known as the cormorant is capable of eating iron, but though its insides can digest iron, they do no harm to the unborn chicks in the body of the mother. There are fish that eat pebbles, but this does not kill the unspawned young in the fish's body. The tree called sandalwood cannot be burned by fire, and the fire in the heavens of purity cannot be quenched by water. The body of Shakyamuni Buddha could not be burned, though 32 strong men applied torches to it. And when fire emanated from the Buddha's body, the dragon deities of the threefold world all poured down rain in an effort to put it out, but it would not be extinguished. This is the folklore, right, from previous sutras. All examples in mindfulness, keeping your head about you. Now you have aided Nichiren in his acts of merit. Right? Not Nichiren the man, but Nichiren the mission. Therefore, it will be very difficult for evil, negative influences or evil persons to do you harm. They might yap, make a lot of noise, but they won't actually be able to accomplish their threats because you have protection of the engine of life. You've invested in it. And if by chance something should happen to you, then you may be certain that it is a retribution in this present life for the hatred that you manifested in some previous existence toward a votary of the Lotus Sutra. So this is a way of thinking. It's not these words, keep hearing the influences of religion here, but even so, the idea being that you're making these great causes, and there's an element of protection in that. But that protection is happening in your mind, and your dignity, and your upholding of the dignity of life is what keeps these evil influences at bay, because they can't penetrate your mind. That's the point here. And even if they do get through, either as an actual physical injury, or more likely, a moment of doubt, a moment of self-hatred, denial, lesser non-dignity, then you can be sure that those doubts, those injuries, whether they're physical or mental, are residue from past thoughts that you've harbored that were not constructive, that were not dignified. Ultimately, Buddhism is all about what's going on in our heads and the repercussions of those influences, not just, as I always tell you, through our practice, we radiate influence into our environments, but we do the same with our negativity, internally and in our environment. We bring about situations that wouldn't normally occur if we kept our head above water. That alone should be great incentive to chant every day, yes. Fight the doubt. That doubt is what creates our suffering. Retribution of that kind can never be avoided. No matter how deep one may be within the mountains or how far away at sea, that is why Bodhisattva, never disparaging, was attacked with sticks and staves, and when the Venerable Madhyayana was killed by a group of Brahmins of the bamboo staff school, therefore, what cause have you to grieve? Anything that happens to you is of your own making. So make a decision to make happy, dignified, bliss for yourself. And if things don't seem to work out, don't plummet into giving them energy. Just recognize them. Oof, I must have missed something. How can I use that for dignity, for betterment, for enlightenment? Always with that mind on, and that's a different kind of appreciation, isn't it? It's not an owing to something. It's an owing to self, to moment life, instantiation. To avoid unforeseen troubles, I'm going long. To avoid unforeseen troubles, it is best to endure patiently. Give yourself a breath if you don't sure what's going on. But as you're breathing, chant Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Your Buddha-ness will understand. You already have that capacity. The only reason you have doubt or don't understand is because you're letting that capacity slip and you're getting into samsara. It's getting in your way. Uncloud your mind. After you've read this letter, during the 100 days that follow, you must not heedlessly go out drinking at night with your associates or others at places besides your own home. If your Lord should summon you during the daytime, then go to him with all haste. But if he summons you to come at night, then plead some sudden illness for the first 3 times he calls you. If he persists in calling you more than 3 times, then inform your retainers or someone else and have them watch out for trouble at the crossroads before you set out to answer the summons. He's very concerned for Shijo Kingo's well-being in this letter. And why? Do you remember what the letter was about? Nichiren is recognizing that Shijo Kingo has made a tremendous cause. A cause to create a physical anchor for him to stay focused on his Buddha-ness. Something, as I described earlier, kind of rattles the samurai mindset, doesn't it? And that's going to reverberate. And it may pull from the environment some strangely weird acts that he has no idea are occurring. So his life is in danger by other samurai. So he's telling him, Shijo Kingo, please be faithful to your benefactor, Lord Emma. But if you get messengers coming to you, because there's no phone, there's no pager, samurai pager, how do you know Lord Emma is calling upon you? He sends a messenger. Well, those messengers could just as easily be a group of angry samurai who want to draw you away from your home so they can pounce on you and behead you. And then, oh, Lord Emma, bandits, they must have got him, can I take his job? Yeah. And Nichiren knows this full well, and he's reminding Shijo Kingo, you damn well know this too, so don't be fooled. You need to respect Lord Emma, but you don't need to be an ignorant fool about it. Oh, Lord Emma's calling me. No, take a moment. Is this reasonable? Let him send 3 messengers. Okay, he must be serious. And then even if then, at night, you respond to that 3rd messenger, make sure you let everyone know what's happening. Send messengers of your own out. Get some of your allies to go with you so you're prepared. Right? Why? Because you got to fight? You got to go to war? No, because you've made a huge cause for the dignity of your life and the universe, the world you have built in your life experience, the karma you have built, will respond. And if you respond intelligently, you bust through that karma. You'll modify that karma to support you. But don't be ignorant and think, well, now I'm chanting all the time, so I'm pure. Nothing's going to happen to me. No, that influence, that purity that you're manifesting in your karma is going to weed out the karma that's not comfortable with that. And so it's going to manifest. It's going to potential manifestation. And if there's negative energies in there, in your karma, which we know there always are, we're the full spectrum. And so if we're shaking the tree, we're going to get some olives, but we're also going to get a broken branch. So we need to recognize it, be ready for it, and catch it. Set it aside. Say, thank you. You'll help burn a fire in my stove later and keep me warm tonight. Turn that negative karma into a benefit. That's Buddha wisdom. That's being awake. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting this channel, these resources. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you can. Go check out the ebooks. If there's a book that you've seen in the bookstore that I haven't, because I haven't translated all of them into electronic digital downloads. I've tried to grab the most significant ones, but maybe there's one that you'd like to see that I haven't included on that page. Let me know, and I'll set about putting it there. Muchas gracias. Bienvenue. Merci à tous. Thank you all. Take care of your health. Keep your practice strong, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye for now.